Back in the 1980s, I attended a week-long spiritual retreat conducted at a meditation center that was located right next to the Joshua Tree National Park in California's Mojave Desert. The austere beauty of that place was amazing. Huge walls of weathered rock stood on the desert floor like monuments. Spiky yucca plants, known as Joshua trees, dotted the landscape. Those trees were named after the biblical character Joshua, who raised his arms and hands towards the heavens to implore God's blessings. Nighttime there was especially wonderful. Because the air was very dry and clear, the stars shone so brightly that you could almost read by their light. In the pitch-black sky, their light seemed to be emitted from an infinite distance. During the retreat, I sat outside for a while each night to meditate. Mostly, I meditated on vastness. Not just the vastness of the universe, but also the vastness of my own true nature as pure consciousness. Consciousness so vast that it encompasses the entire universe. The rishis, the sages of ancient India, discovered that the consciousness or awareness that's present in your experience right now is actually limitless, boundaryless, infinitely vast. They called it Atma, the true self, the so-called inner divinity that dwells in every being. According to the rishis, consciousness is not somehow stuck inside you, but rather it pervades the universe and gets reflected or manifest in your mind and in the mind of every sentient being. But if that's true, if the consciousness present in your experience right now is infinitely vast, then why don't you experience that vastness? That's a really important question. But to answer it, you have to understand the fundamental nature of experience itself. Experience involves two main factors: an object of experience and consciousness. The consciousness that makes the object known to you. A traditional metaphor compares consciousness to the light of the sun. Just as the sun illumines and reveals everything around you, in the same way, the metaphorical light of consciousness illumines and reveals objects in your mind, mental objects like thoughts and emotions. Now, consider this. In outer space, the sun radiates its light in all directions and fills or infuses the space surrounding it with its energy. Yet, for astronauts orbiting the Earth, the sun appears to be surrounded by the blackness of space, not by light. They see the sun's light only when it's reflected by something, by the Earth, the moon, or by their spacecraft. Yet all those reflections are incredibly small in comparison to the actual vastness of the sun's light. In the same way, even though consciousness is infinitely vast, when it illumines or reveals finite objects in your mind, your experience is necessarily finite. Your experience gets limited by the finite mental objects that reflect all-pervasive consciousness. If you want to experience the vastness of consciousness, there's a big problem. That consciousness is you, the experiencer. Consciousness is not something inside that you can experience like your thoughts and emotions. To experience the experiencer is impossible. But even though you can't experience the vastness of consciousness, you can certainly experience vastness. Vastness is a condition that's unbounded, unlimited. As we saw before, your experience gets limited by the finite objects in your mind. But suppose your mind becomes perfectly silent, completely free from all mental objects. Then, in the absence of finite mental objects, you will no longer feel any sense of limitation. When your mind is perfectly silent, all that remains is vast, limitless consciousness. Now, I would like to invite you to join me in a meditation that's intended to temporarily free your mind from the limitations of thoughts and emotions, and in this way enable you to better appreciate the limitless nature of consciousness. I'll recite Om several times to help quiet your mind and create just a few moments of perfect silence. Then, during the long pause in between repetitions, you can reflect on your experience of vastness during those moments of silence. You can keep your eyes open, or after a while, you can close your eyes if you prefer. Om.